This video I will show you side by side the ABARTH 595 Turismo and the Suzuki Swift Sport Hybrid. So the side view of the Suzuki Swift Sport Hybrid is there. Same I can give you a little bit harder for the ABARTH. Rear quarters. So as you can see, actually this is a B segment car, that's an A segment car. So it's different in size. Also the back silhouette. Most people don't understand, but these Suzuki Sports are quite wide, especially at the bottom, as you can see, which gives it a very nice broad stance and also helps with handling. And these ABARTHs are also quite wide, but not as wide as the Suzuki Swift Sports. Also both have 4 exhaust pipes. This is a Rocket Monza system. No, this not have 4 but 2 exhaust pipes, sorry. This is an AKS system, which you can see down there. So it's just similar as a normal system, only this is a lighter and more performance tuned exhaust. Hope you like this short video, have a great day. In this video I want to give you a first person view of driving the ABARTH 595, and this is the Turismo version, as you can see. It's also an automatic, so you flip the key open the door, and you hear a robotic sound. It always does that. And you're welcomed with an ABARTH sign. I will show you a little bit more once I start the engine. Again, you get an ABARTH welcome in the TomTom, which is a blue and meat system. The other car is the Suzuki Swift Sport ZC33S. And also want to give you a view of the interior. Very nice one-piece chairs like the Suzuki also has, but these are leather, and 2 seats in the back as well. So then it's not a start button, but you just put the key in, ignition, feet on the brake, and normally, yeah, there you go. Your instrument cluster, it also changes once you hit the sport button. The sport button is sitting there, so I will press it and watch it change. So now it's more sporty. The exhaust system is a Rocket Monza, which you now hear. Put on my safety belt, and you can of course open the roof, which I would always recommend when it's warm enough. You just press the button until it stops, then you press it again, and you get the full experience. So then down with the handbrake and into reverse. There you go. Into the sunlight. This really gives you that holiday view. So even a small trip, like I'm doing now. So it secures, as you heard, it secures the doors automatically, so it's just an anti-car check feature. Swift does not have that. Audi A1 of my wife did, and now she has a BMW 330e, which also does have that feature. So it's more of a European thing, because also this is an Italian car. So for upshifts, you can just use the automatic to do it for you. or you can do it manually with these flippers that are at the steering column. So on the left you have the downshift, and on the right you have the upshift as I just performed. Downshifting. Of course, you can also press the sport button again, and then you're in normal mode, which will just make the engine a little bit more docile. So a smoother ride, so to say. Also a lot less power, of course. Because once in sport mode, it's not only the reaction to the gas pedal, it's also the turbo pressure maximum that is increased. So that will force more air into the engine and thereby also increasing performance, of course. Because fuel and air, that mixture will make the engine work harder or less hard, depending on what you have. It gives you performance. What I really like about this car is that it's, as I mentioned, it gives you the holiday feeling. It's not only the sunroof, but you also sit on a leather chair, which I also find adding to the premium experience. Another thing that really helps is that you have a very nice sounding car. Also, you have a very nice steering wheel, you have an oversized handbrake. Everything is a little bit oversized for a small car. That's nice. So in my opinion, if you would compare this with more an executive type of car, I would compare this with a baby Maserati, because this being a Turismo, or a baby Lamborghini, as Clarkson told us it behaves like, because it feels angry and just mischievous. And I will tell you one thing: if you have a Lamborghini, you will baby it perhaps into the city, and also maybe outside of that, because it will cost you an enormous amount of money to replace. Also, you will be very careful where to park it. But it's ABARTH, of course, similar things could happen to it, but it's a different story, because the car is so much cheaper to begin with. So it gives you many of the advantages of exotic type of car, but less of the drawbacks. If you have to drive for enormous amount of additional distance to get your car safe, or you have a car that's as small as this one, it gives you parking space. Or for example, if you want to take friends, you don't have to drive the distance 2 times, because you have 2 people that you can also sit in the back. You have many benefits as compared to a Lamborghini. Maserati, and that's why I mentioned it before, of course has all these characteristics in itself, because it's also a 4-seater. For example, the Gran Turismo or the Ghibli, I think, were 4-seaters. Maybe the Ghibli is even a 5-seater like the Quattroporta is. In some incarnations. I thought there were also Quattroportas with 4-seat, but maybe I'm mistaken. Just correct me at that point. And you also have an interior that is stylized. Of course, it's a lot less stylized than, for example, Maserati or Lamborghini, but you get that special feeling. Also, that you have an open environment that you're sitting in. And of course, it's not a true convertible, because then also these pillars should move away. But that also brings you benefits. One is the additional costs are not that enormous. 2, you have this rigidity, safety feature. And 3, you also have this, in case of an accident, of course, safety, but also the safety will make the chassis a lot more stiff, which improves handling. And you have, even with the roof closed, enough room to seat 4 adults or semi-adults. Yeah, of course, if you're very long, I'm 1m88, and when I'm sitting in the back, especially behind me, I'm not having a pleasant time so much. So why is that? Because the leg room is still cramped. Nice tunnel. But also the headroom, I'm having my head touching the ceiling, which is not a good thing. But yeah, of course, for example, if you have your wife and your wife's a little bit smaller, or your daughter, my wife and daughter will not be as big as me, they will sit there quite comfortably. So because their legs are a little bit less lengthy, less long, they will have less drawback of the leg room. And also because they are not as tall, they don't come into contact with the roof, even in a closed configuration. But the benefit is, once you open it, even I could sit there very comfortably for my headroom, because you were just catching bugs. And because of its small size, as you can see, because of the small size, you can park it easier than other cars could be parked. So for example, there's a car already here, and because it's this small, I can still park behind it, which would not be that easy with your Lamborghini or even your Maserati. And why is that? Also, Lamborghini and Maserati are a lot wider, so it will be harder to get them at different locations. Not really feeling what is happening there. I think this is better. Well, that was it. I'll give you one blip of the throttle, and that's it. Have a great day. So the ABARTH experience. Roof open. It's exhaust system, record Monza, 4 pipes. Click was the locking system. I just shifted it 2 seconds. Which the manual flip is 3rd now. Indicator sounds. Shifting back to 2nd again. The left flipper. Turn again. Such a very nice sound. Still gives you that touring feel, a little bit more luxury. So for example, all leather seats, and also the suspension is less harsh. In this generation it has the same engine as the Competizione, so 160 horsepower, also the first generation, the SS, 160 horsepower. So Competizione and Turismo had the same engine, so you get all the benefit of the performance. But in later iterations, they shifted to a different turbo for the Competizione, which meant that Turismo was 165 horsepower, and the Competizione had 180 horsepower. So that's a benefit when you have the Garrett turbocharger. The benefit of the EIE turbocharger that the Turismo has is that it spools up quicker, so you have less lag, and the mid-range is a little bit more punchy, whereas the Competizione has a more peak and power delivery. So that's in its essence the difference. The benefit for me, I think, especially when you have an open roof like this 595C, C stands for convertible, is that you don't need a very harsh ride, in my opinion, and also the additional horsepower are not that much needed. So if you want to, you can give it also the Turismo tune that you have similar power as compared to the standard Competizione, and with additional Newton meter, and the torque gives you that luxury feel of a giant taking you and catapulting you towards towards everything that's lying in front of you. But I do like that this one has the exhaust system of the Competizione option, the Competizione record montage system. So especially when the roof is open, you will enjoy that burbles a lot more, in my opinion. So now sitting in front of a light, so I now switch to the sport button. Just did. So now the car feels a little bit more sporty, even when it shifts for itself. But also you can shift, of course, manually, which is a great pleasure. Truck would go before me, so it gives you a little bit more of exhaust manifesting. But now we'll leave some room between us, and I'll give you some now in seconds, so I'll give you a little bit of the ABARTH experience. First, second. This I really like, and of course you can also press the button again, and then the sport mode deactivates. So when the sport mode deactivates, the pressure of the turbo is decreased again, and you will find that also the fuel management is a little bit less aggressive, which is a benefit, of course, if you want to save some fuel. But once you want to be a little bit more mischievous, as I did demonstrate, you can always one push of a button away and you get additional power. Even without the sport button engaged, performance is quite decent, if not very decent. Such a small car, but with the turbo pressure increased and also the shifting moments delayed, of course it's a different experience once you get the sport button. Hope this small video gave you the insights that you like, and I wish you all a very great weekend, lots of fun. So nice. Bye bye. Founder in car, out.